What's going on, Philadelphia? And especially you. Hello, welcome to Bell and the Birdmen. We're getting close to episode 100, and we have got a dandy for you today. I'm John Barchard, along with Vince Quinn, Taylor Cradatis. I'm excited to be here. I've got my liquid deaths. I've got my coffee. And yes, the pineapple of truth has not gone anywhere this week. There has been a lot of movement this offseason, which is something we have not gotten into. Something that our own good friend Taylor Cradatis actually hates and doesn't think is important, which we'll get into as well. But Vince Quinn, first and foremost, how are you feeling today?
I wish I slept better, but it's okay. It's okay.
Sounds like summer.
Look, it happens sometimes. You just get like 4 hours. You toss and turn. You wake up in the middle of the night. You can't go back to bed. It was one of those kind of nights. But you know, whatever. I'm here. I'm happy. It's nice to see your beautiful shining face.
Playing too much Ninja Turtles? Is that on your Nintendo Switch? Is that what's happening?
No comment. Yes, that game is amazing. How cool is that game?
It's pretty amazing.
Oh my God, Shredder's Revenge, beautiful.
More amazing than Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit on Thursday nights. Because I forgot that was happening. Isn't that weird that you have Amazon is a thing? We're going to be watching Thursday Night Football on it. First and foremost, I'm an old man. I feel like it. I really do not. I understand. It's so stupid. Like streaming service for sports. I'm still not there yet. Is that
what do you mean?
It's just a medium. It's just the platform. It's nothing different. But for some reason in my brain, I go, digital sport versus TV. Like, I don't even watch baseball that much, but if you want me to turn on a baseball game on Peacock, go fuck yourself. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Why not?
I'm not signing up for premium Peacock to go watch the Phillies play or whatever it is. Like, I feel as though this is where sports is going to start to be splintered. That's probably a whole nother other conversation. I just don't like sports being on Amazon, and I surely don't like an Al Michaels that has lost many of his fastballs despite how many times he says it's not happening.
Well, yeah.
Like him and Kirk Herbstreit seems like bad news bears to me. I think Amazon spent the most and got the worst talent.
Wait, you're out on Peacock. That means no Notre Dame football for you.
Oh, no. No Kyle Hamilton highlights for me on Saturdays. Oh, darn.
Yeah,
Is that what they decided to, T? I had no idea.
Exclusively on Peacock.
Wow, they got the bag. Notre Dame bringing in the bag. Look at that. That's amazing. I mean, that is the frustrating thing with it, right? If it's something that's pretty easily available, sure. But when you get to this point where it's like, all right, I'm invested in the game. I buy tickets. I'm buying merch. I'm buying all this shit. And now you're going to be like, hey, by the way, you need to buy this streaming service and that streaming service. Like, that's where it gets messy. If you got if there's one premium outlet, okay. NBA League Pass. Fine.
Great.
One league, all the games, great. But if I got to get NFL, I got to buy the NFL Network to watch Thursday nights. Or now that's Amazon. So like if they're going to be parsing games out, you have to buy on 3 or 4 platforms to be able to see enough of the games. That's bullshit. And I
think it's bad. I think that ends up being really, really bad for every sport that splinters into that. But whatever. I mean, like I don't know. Like all of the big shakeups. The one that I'm interested in the most is Tirico and Collinsworth, because I think Mike Tirico's just been sitting and waiting, and speaking of Notre Dame football, probably hates calling that. And was just like so excited to call the NFL again. And Buck and Aikman go to Monday Night Football. I don't know why when you have the Mannings there. Seems like a clash of too much money throwing into, like they're so desperate for Monday Night Football to be entertaining again that they're giving us Buck and Aikman. And I actually think that's the second worst investment here with the Switch.
Well, they're scared to commit.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They're scared to commit. They have this thing with the Mannings. Everybody's like, oh, my God, this is amazing. You should do that more. And then they're like, oh, yeah, let's go all in on Buck and Aikman rather than just put these guys on fucking ESPN. Just put them on ESPN.
Crazy.
Why are you wasting your time and doing this on ESPN 2? Get other broadcasters, people into traditional game, go to fucking ESPN 2. But otherwise, be a trailblazer, right? Like, that's the problem with ESPN. They haven't been innovative in 15 years. Their last innovation was Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless.
Yeah,
that
really
was the
bad.
last one. You found this thing. People want this. They're talking about developing it for the UFC and getting others. Like, can you imagine 2 fighters casually going back and forth over UFC matches?
Amazing.
Really fucking interesting. That's a good idea. So to see this thing with the man be like, yeah, let's go into Buck and Aikman. Like, you're burying this thing. You're not giving it any opportunity. What's the point? I just don't understand their methodology there. It drives me nuts.
And they paid him like $150 million each, didn't they? to go over there to ESPN
And
or
it's
something
like a
that?
10-year deal, I think. I mean, I'll double check. 'Cause I went through enough of the contracts as best I could.
Well, because the Mannings were kicking
mean-
the crap out of Steve Levy and whatever kind of crew that they had there. So that like, I don't know why you wouldn't just do that. But I guess they want to capture everything because I don't know. I'll leave this to Taylor because he kind of drove us here. But do you care if it's Buck and Aikman or if it's the Mannings? You're telling me that you would watch in silence or just the sounds of the crowd and be happy?
I said it could be the sounds of animals fighting.
I want to try and test that one day.
That was a band.
Yeah, and as long as there's football playing, I don't care.
I don't,
Like I've never been like, oh, these guys are calling the game, I'm not going to watch it, or it's not going to be as fun. No.
Yeah.
I think it totally
doesn't.
it enhances or destroys the broadcast. And
Destroys?
There's no in between.
How's it destroys?
Dick Stockton destroys a game. Dick Stockton destroys a game. That's when it's not like, to me, Kenny Albert destroys a game, and he's on all of the time.
Why?
Oh,
Why, though? Why do they
no.
destroy a game? What is it about him?
Because he is, and no disrespect, because I love Jim Jackson, but if I take Jim Jackson to call football, that's what Kenny Albert sounds like to me. And we tried that. That was Jim Jackson doing the Phillies play-by-play, and it's just not the same. It's not the same. So there's just a classic football sound to me. Keith Jackson. It sounds like football. Al Michaels, even though I just ripped him, sounds like football. Mike Tirico sounds like football. Fucking Beth Mowins sounds like football. You know, like it's just there's a thing to it. I disagree completely with Taylor. If there's not a good play-by-play person that's there, I feel like you're losing a big part of the game.
Yeah,
I really do.
It depends on who you're talking to, right? Because, like, for me, I'm a football diehard. I'm a complete obsessive. I watch games. I'd sit down, watch the pregame show on Sunday, start at like 10 in the morning. I would watch everything all the way through Sunday Night Football. I'd watch the game on Monday, and then eventually Thursdays, all that kind of stuff. I don't give a shit about broadcasters anymore. I just don't. Because to Taylor's point, it's like, I know what's happening in the game. They're not.
No, we don't.
I know what's happening in the game.
We do not know everything that's happening in the game because the camera angles, first of all, are the bigger problem to me in advancing like where we're at. Like you can't see the entire field. So I need somebody to tell me, were they open? Was it not? Was it this? Was it that? You don't know everything that's happening.
They can add tangential details once in a while, but they'll also show you that visual. So, like, I don't pay attention to them because their background noise, they don't matter to me. Like, I know, okay, they put this graph up. I see this guy on the field. They'll draw a circle. I could see it. But, like, listening within the game, when I watch games with people, I'm naturally, in my conversation, I'll go like, oh, this guy's been really killing it today. And then sure enough, the broadcaster, like 10 seconds later, like, this person's really killing it today. And it's just like, that happens to me all the time. Like, I know what they're doing. I know the rhythm. I understand the game. I follow the teams. I follow the league. I just know what it is. So for me as a diehard, it doesn't matter.
Dude, when Kevin Harlan calls a Super Bowl, it sounds like a big fucking game. And it's the Super best
Bowl.
of the best. I know.
What do you mean?
But I'm saying he can make any game sound like the Super Bowl. And that's the difference. That to me enhances the broadcast a million times. To paint the picture, to tell the story, to do all that. You're the narrator of present day history and you're telling the story. It's not about like the voice or this or that. It's just that's what I mean. That's why it has to never be replaced. It can be different things. It can be the Mannings. Fuck, we do it on Sundays, for Christ's sake. We rip them off, basically, and are doing the same thing. I think that's where broadcasting is going to end up. No doubt about it. Like, the traditional play-by-play person is gone, but that's okay. Commentary is still needed no matter what because we all feel it. And
wait, what happened to football voices?
What do you mean?
It did change.
Yeah.
What happened to
you were talking about football voice a couple minutes ago.
Oh yeah, like football. Just like I said, like you had your. I'm Keith Jackson, and we're watching football, and this is Greg Cosell, and it's very serious, And now it's getting into like, all right, can we say fuck on the air? Like, like it's starting to get a little looser. It's starting to get more fan based. starting to get more like regional in terms of people we like, and that's never really changed.
Well,
but
yeah, which is where it needs to be, right? Because to your point of us doing all of this, why do we do it? Because you know what? It is nice to watch a game and just go, oh, man, that play was fucking terrible.
Yes,
What the hell was that? And you don't get that in a national broadcast because what is it? It's these big networks that are broadcasting to everybody. They get fined out the ass if anything goes wrong. They are terrified of losing money, and that is all they do. But now, what happens? We do it all digitally. We're on YouTube. Watch the show on YouTube. That's what we're doing, right? So we can do that. We can curse. We can say whatever the hell we want. It's more of a fan analysis, and it is biased. Like, you know what? I do want that. I don't need somebody that's in the middle and sitting there and just giving base observations of the game because they don't criticize anybody. Like, but that's the thing that kills me.
Isn't that what we already do already with like most of the regional guys we love, like, or play-by-play people? Merrill, like, it's just different when if we're listening to a Fox broadcast. It's why we kind of like sync up our radios and everything to the TV, so it's a little more. I mean, that hasn't changed since the sport has been invented.
Well, you want to sync it up, yes, but you do that because the national thing is totally lacking, and you don't always get that provided element. Like for football, especially, right? That's why it's so complicated. Because for football, it's always been the major networks are king of everything. You get local radio.
Yes, right.
But you do not get local television. That has never been a thing. We do not. I've never in my life.
Isn't that weird for the NFL? Like every other sport does that except the NFL.
Well, because the games are so universally watchable, which is again why I watched all those games, and generally I don't care about the broadcaster because I know all of it, and all of them play this neutral card. Like they don't come out and they just go, "Oh yeah, this guy's been on the team for 5 years," but I don't know why. But they won't say that stuff.
But that's why I would listen to Merrill, even though I would admit he's probably lost his fastball over the years. But at least he cares.
Well, yes.
Like he goes, oh God, this, like, at least he's allowed to throw that shit in there. Like this is terrible, Mike. Exactly.
That's the unfortunate thing. He had to earn that rather than just be that. Like that's where none of those guys want to be. A lot of these times as broadcasters, if you call a broadcaster a homer, they will take offense to that.
You get paid by the team.
Well, I know.
You have to be. You're a homer.
That's what they should be, because that is your
We're
audience.
all homers, by the way. Like we always have a bias towards the better.
You're a Giants homer.
I'm a Giants homer. That's right.
Well, the tough thing is that as a broadcaster, the problem is you can't get too negative on the team. They don't want you to. I mean, certain guys do, like whatever. Nobody's going to get fired over it necessarily, but they're not going to encourage you to go like, yeah, this pitcher's dog shit. Why is he even playing? Like for the Phillies, you could have done that for the last 10 years.
I got to tell, and
they almost did.
Oh man,
they almost did.
Yes, and let me tell you this: it's a little secret. Larry Anderson.
Oh boy,
the real Larry Anderson. When he's not on the air and he is letting it rip in between commercials. I would listen to that and pay $19.99 for it.
Well,
that is the type of announcer we're looking for, right?
I got to do that, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've heard some things.
You heard that shit too, right?
That was my job. I produced Phillies radio for like 4 years at WIP.
All right, can we do story time then?
That's what I did.
I have to get this out. Like,
all right.
There is a certain picture that happened over the course of 2016 to 2019.
2017.
2017.
That
would say this motherfucker again right as they went to break. And I go, if there is a God that could put together Larry Anderson's deep cut, like a super cut of all the stuff that he did, he would be the most popular broadcaster in Philadelphia. Forget Chase Utley saying world fucking champions. Like we would Larry Anderson is a legend, and I wish that he would just do those type of Manning broadcasts.
Well, see, and he would be amazing. But frankly, him and Fransky would be amazing at that together if you just let them open it up completely. But yeah, you're paid by the team, and you're hamstrung by that. And it's funny, too, going to the Phillies a little bit, because, why is Chase Utley a legend? I mean, it's a lot of things about his play, but people
he said
fuck. Yeah, that's okay. What kind of Mickey Mouse bullshit is this? Who cares? It's not. It's just you want people to give you honest analysis about the team. You want them to be able to do that consistently, tell you the storylines from the side that you're looking at it, and be honest about what they're actually seeing. And a lot of times, I think that's really the root of it for me, is you're never getting a fully honest analysis from any broadcaster. They're just not telling you what they really feel, because they have to play in the middle. They are touring around and shaking hands with these people that are the coaches and the players and all this stuff, and it's a relationship business. So you can't sit there as the broadcaster of Thursday Night Football and be like, listen, guys, Mike McCarthy's a fucking clown. You can't do it. But yes, every fan in America would tune in for that. Everybody wants to see that. Don't you want to see that? Like,
it's not play-by-play's fault, Taylor. It's how they're doing it, I think, is what you have the issue with.
Well, all right, did you still stand by this point that you said you would deter away from watching a game if it was not the right crew?
Correct, yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, like, in terms of muting it, yes. Like,
no, I mean,
oh no, I don't care if it's the Bucks versus the Rams. If Dick Stockton is calling it and it's the only way I can get it, I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it muted. I'm not watching it whatever.
That's
I can't watch a game muted. I can't. Cannot.
Why?
Like, because what am I supposed to do? Put music on in the background and make, like, it's not. It takes out.
Have you ever watched a game at a party?
Yeah, there's people around. Then it makes sense. Like, not like at my house. I'm going to mute this. What is enjoyable about a muted
Bell the
sporting
Birdmen.
event? All right, fair enough.
Well, that's why. Yeah, I don't pay attention to them. They are background noise. It might as well be like waves crashing on the beach. Is the white.
I really want to know how do you tune it out? How do you tune it out then?
Oh, it's easy. I've tuned people out since I was a first grader. Ask any teacher I ever had. So
now, I just want to be clear. I'm not talking about a large party environment. I'm like, you guys at your house will mute the television and be fine.
Most of the time, yeah.
No,
bunch of weirdos.
I never mute the TV. I don't do it, but I'm not listening to anything they're saying. Like, I have very selective hearing. Very selective.
They're not the stars. They're the background. They're the thing that pushes the broadcast forward. They should be in the background, but they should be also enhancing it. Whatever.
Well, that's the thing. You gotta find those moments, which is why, for that very short amount of time, Tony Romo captivated America. He did. Like, because what happens? You get a guy that actually knows the game. He played at a high level for a long time. Everybody knows who he is. He comes in, he's got energy, he's personable, and he's calling the fucking plays before they happen. Like, that was fun. When he hit on it in those moments, he'd be like, oh, it's 3rd and 7 here. I think he's going to go to this guy. Oh, he's making the check. Yeah, I really think it's going to happen. Here it goes, Jim. And then he goes and makes the play. You'd be like, Tony, what the fuck? That was awesome.
Yeah.
So, like, that was cool. And then eventually it started to wear on people a little bit, and Romo's in this strange space.
So just so I'm clear,
he was compelling.
You pay attention when it's interesting.
When one person since John Madden, like, and that's the thing too. Once I've gotten older, like when I was a kid, they mattered, and I think for the casual fan, it matters a lot more because you are listening to that. You're not an obsessive sick person that's listening to this and reading the news all the time like I am. You don't have 3 tabs open that are all at profootballtalk.com. You know what I mean? Like, so
casuals are just on their phones. Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they're
checking fantasies, checking their bets, and all that.
Sure,
stuff.
but at times when you're watching the game, you will pick those things up because like they're actually giving you information. But for me as a diehard that's constantly following it, I'm not learning anything. They're not enlightening me to anything.
You're talking about the analyst part. I'm still on the painting the story, like all that stuff.
I know the story.
No, you don't.
I do.
It's happening in front of you. That's the point of it. You have a narrator telling you what's going on as it's happening.
I'm seeing it as someone who has eyes and a brain.
All I'm hearing from these two idiots is they don't like the way it's been done. Instead of this is like arguing that radio and TV is dead because it's not a good medium. It's a great medium, and the people in charge of it fucking ruined it.
Yes, that's
what
true.
happened. It's not that. Yeah. So like I don't get where there's this. There isn't that great of a. I mean, look at this. Fox has to hang now with Kevin Burkhardt, and it's no disrespect to Kevin at all because I love him. But who's behind Kevin Burkhardt? Who's behind Al Michaels? Who's behind Mike Tirico? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The whole thing shifted. That's what I mean. Like, we're going to get into this new era of play-by-play people, and I hope they realize the Tony Romos of the world that captivate us, the Mannings that, can provide that. And that's basically what you're saying, right? I want the next closest ex-NFLer to be in the booth so he can teach me something new about the game because they just came out of it, right? So you are hepped up for a $375 million 10 years of Tom Brady in the booth.
No, not at all.
He's the next Tony Romo whenever that happens.
He's the most artificial, full of shit, image-conscious nonsense spewer that we're going to get. What is he ever going to say? If we
It's going to be at those fucking hearings, I guarantee you that.
Okay.
Hey, baby. I hear you, Tom. Anyway, that's a whole nother podcast.
Look, if Tom Brady is actually saying what he thinks, I'll be interested. And he could be really damn good at it.
For that much money.
Is he? Well, he doesn't have to say anything honest for that much money. That's why this whole thing is broken. He does not have to. It's up to him in his post-career whether he decides whether he wants to be an actual person and like big, because he could. I mean, he's already
person.
Well, he's not an actual person right now.
No, I agree.
He's a completely fabricated human being. Like, it's insane what he does. So, okay, is this guy going to come out and say what he feels and tell real stories about shit? Because, like, when you get those deep dive stories that come out every couple of years about Tom Brady and what he's done, you get all these things like, oh, Brady did this legendary fucking thing with this guy and that guy and whatever. Like, if he's going to tell those stories from his perspective and him and Bill and planning for games and the big moments and all that, yes, Tom Brady hearing his story from his mouth during football games and applying it to the context of that moment is compelling. Is he going to do that? No fucking chance. And that's the problem. Like, that's what you would want, and it's Tom Brady, so he's a star and people will watch anyway. Is he going to be dynamic? I don't know, and I doubt it.
He's dynamic enough. He's like
enough.
He's been on SNL a couple of times, right? I mean, Manning's gotten some laughs on there too, or just once maybe.
Well, Peyton, I know Peyton's been on there. Brady's been in in Ted.
Yeah,
he was in Ted.
Ted.
Some other things. He's snuck in for a moment here and there.
He was in that sexual harassment spoof they did on SNL where he's walking around in his underwear in the office, and they're like, "Here's the 2 things about not being sexual harassed in the office: don't be ugly." Tom Brady being like the handsome dude or whatever around, but. I think, real quickly, speaking of Tom Brady, I think that this hearing and why Dan Snyder doesn't want to go into all this stuff, and this is something I tweeted about. I've been waiting for Vince to come back to like maybe float this out there. It's not a full-fledged theory. That's why we call it Tin Hat. But like I've always thought Tom Brady, speaking of, I don't know, protected or some. I just feel like some big blow-ups with Tom Brady is going to happen, and he's the NFL's Truman Show. And the real reason why Dan Snyder's not going to speak is because it would let that secret out somehow. And Tom Brady, speaking of this deal, is trying to mask everything that is happening. I don't think Tom Brady wants that contract at all. I think that's a total fugazi 10-year, $370 million to totally counteract and be like, nope, over here, I'm retiring. I'm becoming a broadcaster. There was no way that I was going to retire, take over the Miami Dolphins, and then go beat Bill Belichick because I'm a crazy fucking asshole. Like, I think the whole league is propped up by Tom Brady's secrets and whatever that is, and that's why this symbiotic relationship will always continue on.
I don't know. Look, if you were going to get anything that would be of grave concern to Tom Brady's image, which is what we're talking about here, it would be anything connected to Brian Flores more than anything.
Well, I mean, it already is.
Because, like he knew Flores. They're on the team together. He was in Miami as the coach. He gets fired as the coach because Brady probably says, hey, I want Sean Payton, which was all the theory at the time. Look, if there was something deeper and ugly to that, which I have no substantiation at all of, and I'm not making that accusation.
None of us do.
But
I am, just to be clear.
That would, he's look. I think he's an incredible weirdo, and everybody's got skeletons, especially on that level. Yes, there's no doubt about it. It's just I think Snyder's scared of just being Dan Snyder and having to face people about it.
You think Brady called for Peyton?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. I 100% believe Tom Brady called for Sean Payton and wanted him to coach the Dolphins. Yeah.
Why him?
Sean, because he saw
Offense
everything.
is amazing.
Yeah, he saw everything that he did with Drew Brees. He kept Drew Brees going, throwing the ball 8 yards down the field. And for Brady, what's he doing in Tampa? He's throwing the ball 20, 25 yards down the field. He could play till he's 50 if he's doing what Drew Brees did. That's exactly what he's thinking. That's who he wanted. He just couldn't get it because the whole Flores thing fucked the whole thing up, and now they got Mike McDaniel.
He wouldn't want somebody who could boss around, like LeBron James-esque.
Ooh.
Well, look how it's worked out for LeBron. I mean, it comes and goes, right? Like, I feel like you see what Sean Payton does. He runs a great offense every single year. If I'm Tom Brady, I don't want some fucking schmuck because it's the last couple years of my career, and I'm the most competitive son of a bitch that's ever existed. So, like, I want a guy that I know is great, that wants to work with me. He's got to have a relationship with Sean Payton at this point. He's been in the league for 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them have been in the league the whole time. So, like,
they've probably been scheming together because of how much he hated Bill, right? They probably like send love letters to one another. Like, I can't wait to be in Miami with you. And we're going to get rid of this. And I don't have to use a 40-year-old quarterback arm anymore. And I get to coach the greatest thing ever. Like, Sean Payton's just as guilty as Tom Brady.
Yeah, oh, of course. And if you're Sean Payton, yes. Like, the second Drew Brees retires, what do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's not like, oh, well, I do have Taysom Hill still.
You think Tom is just going to call Sean and be like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, hey, you want to go fuck over Bill? Like,
Yeah.
with that and Gronk retiring in quotes and all this other stuff, I can't wait. I think Tom Brady is the reason and or the downfall of the NFL. The reason why it stays up or the reason why it crumbles.
Well, they built it up around him because they buried all the as soon as they buried all the Spygate stuff, they were a Tom Brady
From
organization.
Tuck Rule on, just hasn't seemed right.
Yeah, it's a great story. It's been highly beneficial for the league, and you know what?
And
he
him.
is a damn good player, and he's been
a
able to
phenomenal
earn
player.
it. So yeah, I mean, he's the greatest player that's ever lived in the sport.
Won't doubt
He
it.
just is. He's
Won't doubt
won
it.
everything. He's done it at the most important position. I'm sorry. So for him to be able to do all that, and for them to protect him to the level that they did, yeah, like, and it's crazy too because as much as they have protected him, they've had to go after him. I mean, they did suspend the fucking Deflategate nonsense and all. So, like, it could have been more. But, yeah, like, it's just a weird relationship with him. But I wouldn't be surprised if they were trying to protect him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I'll tell you this. No one's protecting play-by-play people over in our producer booth. I don't know. I just think I think this whole scenario of like we are really getting into a brand new world of how we're going to view sports from how we did 5 years ago is pretty insane to me.
Yeah.
Are we going to go down to the Taylor Cordatis route of like just silent pictures
Well,
and noise?
Well,
is that what everybody wants in the end?
the only time I've been like, okay, this was great with the broadcast was the short-lived Pat McAfee doing Maction on ESPN a couple years ago. He was so good on it. He was like talking about all like these weird like little stories about like these random football teams that nobody really ever watches and like all these gambling lines and stuff. So stuff like that, yes, like innovation. But other than that, it might as well be crickets.
Oh,
Yeah.
There you go.
Traditional format stinks. It just does. And, like, that's why, and I say this as earnestly as I possibly can to you people. If you've watched us do the play-by-play last year,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, we will be doing that this year.
Absolutely.
And give us your feedback. We have a channel for it in the Discord. It's just called Pod Feedback. It's one of the things at the top. Come in, pop in there, go, guys, when it comes to the play-by-play, this, that, let us know. Because, like, for us, that is the only reason I've agreed to do that. Because, like, John goes, he's like, man, I got this great idea. I think it'd be really fun if we did it on Sundays and we can do it our own way. And I'm like, yes, because the old way sucks and I don't care about it. I'm not interested. So if we're not giving you that, let us know because that's all we're trying to do.
1,000%. Yeah. And come to the bar while we're doing it. And come to the Gatehouse.
Yeah, come to the Gatehouse.
Which is going to be in the Navy Yard. And I know a lot of people have been asking questions, by the way, especially shout out to our good friend Gary out there in Scotland. As Gary, we got you, brother. We will have tailgate tickets. We will all be at the Navy Yard, the Gatehouse, through the entire season for every single home game. So a little announcement from us to you. And we will certainly have more details before the season gets started. But, yeah, I mean, make sure that you are constantly checking out thegatehouse.com and Monday Night Football against the Vikings. We're going to go fucking buck wild. It's going to be insane. Stay at the Marriott, too, if you're coming in from out of town. You're like Gary or coming in from Scotland, wherever I think he's getting his Week 10 tickets to Washington for Monday night. So perfect there, too. Stay at the Marriott next in the Navy Yard. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Can't tell you why, but the second main reason is you are 905 steps away from our tailgate, and 10 minutes from the tailgate to Lincoln Financial Field to your seat. So
walking, yes, you can walk from our tailgate to the game. That is what we're setting up. It's going to be amazing.
All presented by these guys, as I'm pointing down on the YouTube right here at phillysportstrips.com. And go check out all these fine folks underneath with the QR code, or just simply text us 215-509-5833 if you need to book your Eagles trip home or away this season. Fellas, anything else before we get out of here? Other than I think Tom Brady's a cyborg weirdo, and we all disagree on how play-by-play is being handled, which is great.
Bring back Pat McAfee.
Why? Great point. Real quick, why did Amazon not give Pat McAfee $1 billion to go hang with Al Michaels, and then Al Michaels hangs on Pat McAfee's show? They clearly like one another. Kirk Herbstreit? Are you fucking kidding me?
They're scared.
Kirk
Everybody
Herbstreit
is scared. They all operate scared. This is what happens when every company gets really big and fat. They make very lame, average fonts, and they don't hire inspiring broadcasters. It's just what they do. Nobody wants to take a risk at the top. They don't like doing it. It's just preserving the money you got.
How about the weirdo broadcasts? McAfee and Mina Kimes.
Yes.
Yes. Sure. 100%. I would check it out.
I'm sure there's a Good Morning Football type of thing with Kyle Brandt, and
Oh yeah, Brandt would fit in that.
that would be fun. I think that's exactly right. So what we're saying is, you're back.
I mean,
You're back in the right circumstances. There's a chance. It's giving me hope.
I would give it a chance, but yeah, generally, I literally have not bothered in a decade to think who's on, I can't name half of the play-by-play people. I can't name half of the color people.
How is that possible?
Because they don't matter in my life at all. They make no impact on my life as a football fan. They just
determine
don't.
whether I'm going to love the game or not that day.
To me, it's is the team any good? I'm worrying about the coaching decisions because like I watch every game like that. I'm always just like, oh man, this team's killing it today, and look at this guy. And I don't know him. Let me figure out who he is and what his situation is. And like that's how I analyze every game like that. So I don't turn my brain off and just get the entertainment. I'm like analyzing constantly, and they just never engage. They just never do it.
Well, I'm sitting on an island once again. Help me out if play-by-play people matter to you at all. 215-509-5833. BellTheBirdmen.com is how you subscribe to the podcast, YouTube, and get in our Discord. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure as always. From Sandbox Studios, I'm John Barcher. That's Vince Quinn. For Taylor Cordatis. Okay, bye.